We have taken you on a journey and you came along for this emotional ride, exploring the personal stories and extraordinary experiences of ordinary South Africans.
I don't belong in anything that has to do with male.
You're HIV positive because you were raped.
A lot of the angst and anxiety was coming from your own black brothers and sisters. They were telling you, you're not black enough.
Like 3 people on Instagram that really want to see me in a bathing suit, and I cater to those uncles.
In today's installment of Unpacked, we take a look back at some of our stories and share some of the moments we didn't air. In our premiere episode, we spoke to Marie Molefe van Heerden about her transracial adoption story.
How do you think I see myself? Do you think I see myself as a white person or a black person?
I think sometimes, many times, I can see Marie. Let me put it this way. I see Marie more. I see her when I see Marie. Mm-hmm. We are in a white environment. Can I call it that way?
But you see, she's sitting right now with a fellow black sister. Because I see you, I see yes. Black sister. Do you think when she's sitting with me, she identifies as black, or do you think she identifies as white because of her upbringing? It doesn't matter whether it's a wrong or a right thing. I'm just curious of how you think she sees herself.
I think she's got a more she more leans over to seeing herself as white. And
that's fair then.
That's what I experience. That's what I see.
And our 2-part special with Silkezimmer Gezi and Tolang Mutsumi, our guests shared their transgender journeys.
So I was assigned a boy at birth, obviously by a cisgender heterosexual male doctor. But I guess also that I have a huge problem with that, right? Because I think not only is that erasing and suffocating of the trans narrative, because I feel like if you're going to be like, assigning a sex to a child without really asking for consent or without really creating language for them, as much as the language itself, because heteronormative language has a girl and a boy. But when we speak about a gender neutral language that is, encompassing of various identities, I think it was extremely important for the doctor to really take into cognizance that, creating a space, creating, a community, because if you're going to be assigning a sex and a boy, you're not only creating just gender dysphoria, but you're just also perpetuating to the stereotype that black, as a black child, you can never really grow up and really like celebrate and elevate your identity.
Can I ask a question then? Because you are touching on something that is important. Obviously, people that are not a part of the LGBTIQ+ community or have taken, their opportunities to get to learn more about the community. This concept is far-fetched. To your average South African, it's as simple as there is a the doctor waits to see what is between the legs. Even with, 3D and 4D that you can do with a sonar, they always say, do we want to know if it's a boy or if it's a girl? So are you suggesting that you want to see a world, you want to see a South Africa where we apply gender neutral tones even in the medical field when a child is born? Because it's one thing for a clothing company to say, we're no longer going to feed into gender stereotypes, to say girls' clothes must be pink and boys' clothes must be blue. You are saying you want to see a world where a boy or a girl is born, but you don't say it's a boy, it's a girl. You say it's a baby. And then we all say yay and we celebrate and we wait for the child to grow up and choose what they want to wear. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying, because when you look at it, my sister, the world is becoming genderless. It's genderless. And I think also understanding that, in recreation or in construct and deconstruct of language, we need to understand that creating spaces for trans people is extremely important, because not only have you ever been catered to, but we continue to be the most underrepresented group within society.
Comedians Tumi, Lindy, Jilly, Lesego, and Hilda spoke on their experiences as women in the business of comedy. So by show of hands, are you being paid enough in relation to men?
Woo! Must be nice.
Okay, by show...
When you said, are you being paid enough? I was like, no. And then you said in relation to men, and I was like,
No.
Okay, by a show of hands, are you still facing the same problems right now in your career that you faced when you started?
What does that mean?
No, I almost feel...
depends.
Look, this is all about a perception thing from my side, because I'm not in your space.
I started yesterday, so it's like this perspective.
I think for an outside person, for me as somebody who's in the media space, whenever I'm working on any project where they're like, we need a female comedian, Edumi Morake's name would be in the first to be mentioned. You've worked, you've done all those, you're at that place. So for you to say you're still...
I thought a lot of people was not available, so I'm actually really grateful to the diary, because Timmy said no, so when are you available?
You also get that.
Even with the corporates, they're like, okay, to me wanted this much, and can you do it for this much? And you're like, okay.
So you're coming back to me because Timmy said no. All right, but I'll take it. I need the money.
The male adult entertainment industry, Exotic Dancers, Cadbury, and Rush chatted about their line of work and the industry. So I think a lot of people still cannot fathom that. Why would somebody want to do this? So maybe let's start with you. Why would you want to do this?
Like doing what? Stripping?
We don't know what you do.
Like, for me, like...
Getting touched, entertaining, performing. Why this?
At first, I didn't think that I was going to be a male stripper.
Yeah.
It just happened that because I was a dancer and a model. So, yeah, like, for now, since I'm in the industry and I'm in love with it, for one, it gives you confidence and self-esteem. Like, it boosts your self-esteem, because of which men wouldn't love to be chaired by women out there, like you feel like you are an alpha male, And again, it disciplines you, to look good, to take care of your looks, which there's more men, they don't do that, because we have to always be in the mirror and make sure that I look good when I go out, because I have to sell that brand that I'm a dream guy. So yeah, for first, most people who are doing it boosts their self-esteem, And there's a lot of things that you get. Like, people go to clubs to spend, like, as a guy. I no longer do that. Like, if I go there, if I still want to have fun and party there, I get friends buying me drinks and stuff like that now, because they know that, okay, he's here working and stuff like that. Like, when I used to work in a club, I would know that, okay, I still have fun. By the way, I don't drink alcohol, so I love dancing, going on the dance floor and stuff like that. Then I still have to not spend my own money just for fun, because I bring the fun.
Survivors Griselda and Bukelwa shared the horror and trauma of being taken against their will and living to tell their stories. You've been drugged. You can't see anything. You are just feeling what is happening to you. And from what you can recall, does it feel like this lasted a day? Does it feel like, how long does it feel like that lasted for?
It feels like it lasted for quite a couple of days, because in the morning it was, you sort of had where you could pee, where you could, get runny tummy, because the minute cocaine sort of goes in your system and there's nothing, you do go into a runny tummy, especially if they shove water down your throat. So you mess yourself. So in the morning time between, early hours of the morning, your mind does get a breather where you can think and want to ask something. But it was extremely hard to ask because it was like every time there was somebody at the door listening if I'm still breathing. And the minute I'm trying to cough or cry or moan, the person would just come in and just shove another ecstasy. So it felt like it was sort of a week or 12 days or 2 weeks. Because when I got to be able to sort of a little bit verbally engage with one of the buyers, I was sort of begging the person, like, I'm willing to be your slave. If this is all about sex slavery, just take me out of this place. And with that, the person just ended up calling whoever was at the door. And when that person came back, they sort of slapped me.
Lebo Mashile and Malusi Gwangwa, two South Africans raised in exile, told the unheard tales of their lives back then and how they made it back to a new South Africa. Now you're in the UK. Did you know where you were? Like, did you understand? And I'm thinking about when I first understood a globe. Like, when I understood this is where I am. Like, what was that moment for you that you knew where you were on the globe in relation to where you were before? Or did you just know you were on a long flight, but you couldn't actually, if I'm making sense, the globe moment, when was that for you?
I understand it, and no, I didn't have a clue how far I was, according to the globe,
yes.
But I do remember how, it was irritating how different things were. There's one thing that irritated me specifically because I was coming from a place where there was sand everywhere. You understand? This is bricks everywhere. Do you understand? Like a piece of grass doesn't stick out from nowhere. It's bricks. And the only place you have some sort of sand is a park. And there's, dog feces everywhere. You can't do anything. Literally.
It's so
like
amazing
you can't
that
play.
your memory is so clear on that specific thing. But share with us, what did sand represent that you remember that so clearly? Why was sand so important?
I was the one that was always playing outside in the sand, so, and I didn't like taking a bath. So I'd come running in, but before getting to the house, I'd go to the tap outside and kind of wash just the front of my body.
Thinking no one would
Yes. So it became like a family story, especially when we met family overseas. And it was like, oh, Malusi, remember the sand? You used to like playing. So I didn't have that. I didn't have that relationship with the soil. I mean, it was really just bricks everywhere. So I missed the heat. Botswana is hot. I missed the dust. I missed my friends. I missed being able to just walk out the gate and just run off into the distance and not have anybody. Here you had somebody knock on your door, can Malusi please come out to play? And I made friends, but it wasn't the same.
After years serving time in prison, Welcome Vidboy shared how his life led him to taking the life of another and how he came to be where and who he is today.
And for me, that's been my lesson, is how do I deal with what I've done? And the only way that I've dealt with it was that I had to learn to forgive myself first.
And how did you do that? And I'm asking it in a very practical, honest way. There are people who are watching, who are sitting with the demons that genuinely want to know, how do you forgive yourself? But there are also people who are watching who are thinking, how do you even begin to forgive yourself if there are people who might never forgive the thing that you did?
I get that, and for me, I've made peace with that. The reason why I'm saying that the part that I had to play in my own life to forgive myself was to first understand the gravity of my crime or the gravity of my act or what I did, was to understand that not every guy that you rob that has an iPhone X is rich.
Yeah.
It's like this guy might have taken this thing out on a contract.
Yeah.
He might have gotten it as a gift.
It might not even be his.
It might not even be his. The thing for me was that I had to come to the terms of realizing that people pretend. That was the first thing. People pretend to be who they are not, and they die in that pretense. So I had to cancel out all of that first to realize that when taking a person's life is to really understand whether this person deserves that. And when I'm going to do this, am I aware of the consequences of what I'm going to do?
So you even saying deserve that. Are there people you believe deserve to die?
I think that everybody deserves an opportunity to live. There's just people on this earth that just don't care about other people's lives.
Lindani Ndwandwa, a stylist to the stars, shares how he came out as being gay while married. Have you found that people have boxed you, like you're saying, they say, oh, you're just a girl?
I think the first part is that the only reference our parents or the community has of gay people are two, and the one is the Senzo and Jason scenario and Generations.
Yes.
That was when this whole gay thing was like a topic. And also Somizi, because they assume that if you're saying you are gay, you're saying you're Somizi. So they're waiting for you to dye your hair, to change your hair, to wear makeup and to wear girly clothes. So they're like, man, are we gay in January? Why aren't you wearing girly clothes? And also they assume that now you're a girl, that now they're gonna call you Chomi, call you a girl. And so I think people are just misinformed about what being gay means.
Do you sometimes find that, I mean, you've mentioned that people have this expectation, a Somizi expectation. I sometimes feel like there are people who are homophobic to the gay people that are in their own community, but because a Somizi is far and lovable and loved, that's okay, but this gay here, we don't want it. If you understand what I'm saying.
I get you. I think people have a specific tolerance to gay people. So be gay in your corner. Don't come into my space. Like I said to you, don't come into my house because now what are you teaching my children? I mean, I have people saying to me, Guti, as gay as you are, don't come to my house with your boyfriend. Don't kiss your boyfriend in front of my children because now I must explain to my children what's going on. Don't confuse my family. So I feel like people are okay with you being gay. Just be, actually, it's like being gay is like the corona thing. Like, be there, wear your mask, stay away from me. You know, it's so weird how people
because
treat us.
We're going to also get that thing that you have.
Or our children, or our husband.
Yes. Anita Ronga, a DJ who was raised in a conservative Afrikaans home, now relates more with the Black culture and the African community than her own. She unpacked her experiences. I have said to people that if the only Black experience you have is what you've read about, or the one time you might have got hijacked, then that's the perception you're going to have of the Black experience. But if you don't go out of your way to have an actual Black experience, if you don't put yourself in a position where there is a Black person that you would welcome into your home, not to work, but to visit and experience, then there is something to be questioned about your South African experience when the majority of the of the population is Black people. I think, you know, it's interesting how you found your way going on the journey that you've gone on. And I think one of the things I admire is your open honesty. At the same time, having said that, I can understand why people would question that. So what would you say to Black people, or actually anyone of any race who's like, nah, she's just doing it for attention, or she's just doing it for, you know, whatever they've accused you of doing it for?
Wow. I feel like I've been at it for so long, and it's something that it really grew within me, you know? So I've never done this for attention, or I'm doing this because it's who I am. And I think it just happened to be that I'm a DJ on a more public platform, that people would think I'm doing this to get more attention because I want to, like, get more gigs or whatever. I feel like my calling was actually to reach more people through DJing about race and about Ubuntu. I don't know, I feel like that's my drive behind being a DJ.
And in a 2-part special, we spoke to 4 men who are victims of rape: Reese, Oguhle, Dirk, and Dogi opened up about their pain, experiences, and challenges.
That whole myth that often also comes up is that if you were sexually abused or you raped, you're going to become a rapist. It's not always the case.
I was going to ask you about that.
It's not always the case, because most of the studies that were done about people who were sexually abused who went on to become perpetrators, most of the research was done in prisons. So they've already been caught for some illegal activity, and that was their defense that they had used. The probability is that there is an equal probability of being, if you were sexually abused, going on to become an abuser, than if you were not. A lot of the manipulators, in Dirk's situation, I don't know the perpetrator, but in Dirk's situation, the perpetrator wanted the power and the control. For him, as a dentist in a small community and being so highly respected, for him, he was getting off putting the whole community and putting that falsehoods amongst all the community. That's what really stimulated him, the power and the control, that he can manipulate the community, the family, everybody around him. So it's about the power and the control. But going back, any male has got a choice. And it is a choice you have to make. If you were sexually abused, you've got a choice to keep quiet, to deal with it. You've got lots of choices in your life. But if you actually go on and become the perpetrator yourself, that is a decision you have made.
The journey is not over. Brand new episodes of Unpacked with Relebogile Mabotja start Monday at 5 p.m. Unpacked with Relebogile Mabotja, new episodes weekdays at 5:30 p.m. on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Television edited broadcast weekdays at 5 p.m. Open up to S3.